Mitchell Hooper just won the 2026 Arnold Strongman Classic by one single point, and it's his fourth consecutive win of the title, which is honestly an incredible achievement. But watching the competition unfold, something stood out to me. Mitchell Hooper might be the smartest competitor in strongman today, but the way he goes about winning competitions might be the least exciting. He calculates exactly how many points he needs to win and nothing more. It's really a brilliant strategy if you think about it, in a sport that's not really known for brilliant strategies. But from a spectator standpoint, it's a bit anticlimactic. And I'm not sure that this strategy is going to work for direct strength showdowns like the upcoming enhanced games against Hafthor Bjornsson. So let's go through it. So a quick overview of the Arnold Strongman Classic that just happened this past weekend. There were 6 events. The Elephant Bar Deadlift, the Cyr, CYR, is that how that said, Cyr Dumbbell Challenge? Stone to Shoulder, Stone Drag, the Austrian Oak Press, and the Ramp Rage Carry Medley. The final standings were Mitch Hooper with 36 points, Austin Andrade with 35 points, and Martin Lises with 34 points. As you can see, very tight ranking there for the top 3. For those of you who don't know, in Strongman, you get points for each event. You get the most points if you make first, you get 1 point less if you make second in each event. At the end, your tally is the total of points that you have. So if there's 10 people competing, if you make first, you get 10 points. If you make second in an event, you get 9 points, etc. Add all those points up at the end, and that's your total. This really tight point ranking makes it look like it was a really tight competition, but if you go through each event, one event at a time, it kind of tells a different story. Event 1, Elephant Bar Deadlift. Mitch Hooper won the event by deadlifting 981 pounds on an elephant bar, which is a really long and bendy barbell. He only needed his second attempt to secure the win here. He didn't even bother doing the final lift because he knew he already had the win. This is a classic Hooper strategy. Get an early lead easily and comfortably, and instead of securing a big deadlift number, he secured the points and the win, which once you're in first place in the Arnold, you actually get to go last in the competition, which is a huge advantage. More on that in a second. He saved energy, and he reduced his risk of injury. Why go for a pointless third attempt when you already got the win? But from a fan standpoint, like, everybody wants to see a big deadlift, and I even saw people online complaining that nobody broke 1,000 pounds on this deadlift, which usually happens. The Elephant Bar Deadlift is a classic Arnold Strongman event, and usually you expect to see at least one person break 1,000 pounds on it. Didn't happen this year. The second was the Cyr Dumbbell Challenge, and he tied for first with Lucas Hatton by getting 1 rep on the 300-pound dumbbell. Hooper really did push himself here. He went for the second rep with the 300-pound dumbbell, but didn't quite get it because he needed the points. He only had a very small lead at this point, and after this event, he was tied for first place. This is where smart strategy comes in. Push yourself when you need to, and this is probably the hardest he pushed himself. It still kept him in the lead, and by tying this event, he's playing really smart. Strongman's supposed to be a sport that's all about pushing yourself and pushing the limits. The third event was the stone to shoulder, and they were doing a natural stone, which if you've ever done natural stones, those things are big, they're awkward, and hard to pick up. In this event, Mitch Hooper actually made 4th. He got 2 reps with the stone. 2 people got 3 reps, but he only got 2. However, I believe the other person who got 2 reps did it quicker than him, so that scored them above him. But this was still enough that Mitch was tied in points at this point with 23.5 points. And this is one of Mitch Hooper's greatest strengths in strongman. While he doesn't always win every event, he never does poorly. Event 4 was the stone drag. You had to carry 2 Dinny stone replicas, set them onto a sled, and then drag it back. This is an event that challenges not just your grip, but also your conditioning. Mitchell Hooper did good at this event, placing 4th. Even given that, he still actually got in the lead from this event because his closest competition, Austin Andrade, placed 8th. Some of these like really big wide guys who are really good at static strength events, they're not as good at stuff that requires conditioning or has a conditioning element like this type of event, medleys and drags and that sort of thing. Me as an amateur lightweight strongman, this is actually where I thrive. Actually, my static strength is not great, but my conditioning is really good, so this is usually where I pick up points. Mitch, again, is really well-rounded, so he didn't win this one, but he did place well enough that it still put him in the lead. And then the Austrian Oak was the next event, and Mitch got 3 reps here. And he only placed 4th. Lucas Hatton, Trey Mitchell, and Thomas Evans all got more reps than him. But again, because of his points lead, he was at 35 points after this event and still in first place, which again gives him that advantage of getting to go last in every event and see how everybody else did. The last event was the Ramp Rage, and Mitchell Hooper, all he needed to do in this, his lead was so large at this point, literally all he needed to do was get one of the bags over the ramp, like carry it to the end and get it. And he went for 2, but he just stopped there and was like, I'm done. He didn't push for the 3rd. He didn't chase the win for this event. He actually made last place in the last event, which clutched his victory. He made last place in this event. He simply did it to secure the title. And honestly, this perfectly captures how Hooper competes. He's really a guy who's in it to win. He's not really in it for show or to impress anybody. He's there to win, which he does really well. So yeah, let's talk about the Mitchell Hooper strategy. Mitch's biggest advantage is not his strength. It's really 2 things. It's his well-roundedness and his strategy. In that regard, he competes more like a Formula 1 driver than a strongman. He rarely takes unnecessary attempts on anything. He doesn't chase records. He manages his fatigue in competition really well. He never looks gassed or weak in any event. He avoids injuries, and he maximizes his points in each individual event instead of wins at the event. This is why his consistency is unmatched in modern strongman. Instead of thinking about how do I win this event, he thinks, how many points do I need here to still stay on top? Which honestly isn't the most exciting narrative for the fans. I think the events in this Arnold also definitely favored Mitch. If you look at the events, they include a lot of technical lifting, conditioning, grip work, carry and load and stone events, which are all like things he's pretty good at. And there's only one pure max strength event, which was the elephant bar deadlift. And Mitch, even though I don't think he's the top deadlifter out there, more on that in a second, he was hands down the best deadlifter at this event because Hafthor Bjornsson wasn't competing. Hooper excels at the mix of these events because he's honestly the most complete strongman competing right now. And this leads us to the big upcoming matchup, the Enhanced Games Deadlift Showdown. So as far as I know, the only 2 people competing in this are going to be Hafthor Julius Bjornsson, who owns the current world record in the deadlift, and Mitchell Hooper, who has never had a world record in the deadlift. This is where things get interesting. At the Arnold, Hooper deadlifted 981 pounds. It moved really well. However, there are some things to note here. This was on a elephant bar, which is longer and more flexible than a traditional deadlift bar, definitely giving you an advantage. Most people can pull significantly more weight on an elephant bar than they can pull on a conventional barbell from the floor. And he was absolutely peaked for competition. Usually you do a peak and taper to diminish your fatigue before competing, so usually you'll do better in competition than you would just in a regular gym lift if you peak correctly. Meanwhile, Hafthor Bjornsson pulled the 937 pounds that he did from the floor on a normal barbell, and it looked completely effortless. It was just like a regular gym lift. It was basically would have been like a normal warm-up for him if he was going for a true like heavy max. It was on a stiffer bar. He did not peak for this lift, and the exertion level of his effort looked much lower than Hooper's. So this raises the question, what happens when Thor actually peaks? Like, how strong can this guy really actually get? Here's my prediction for the Enhanced Games. Mitch Hooper is an incredible strongman, but in a pure deadlift competition against Hafthor Bjornsson, who has owned the world record in the deadlift. He beat his own record twice and is now possibly going to do it a 3rd time. It's hard to see Hooper winning. Hafthor has deadlifted 501 kilograms for the world record, then he beat his own record with 505 kilograms, then he beat his own record again with 510 kilograms. Thor is really optimized and training specifically for this event. It's probably one of the reasons why he didn't do the Arnold Strongman Classic, whereas Hooper, he just did the Arnold Strongman Classic. He's not training specifically only for this event. Instead of being like a super well-rounded athlete like Mitch Hooper is, Thor's strength is being unbeatable at a couples things, usually static strength events, the deadlift being the strongest of them. I just don't see Mitch Hooper, who's never held any world deadlift records and also has never officially deadlifted over 500 kilos. I don't see him coming close to beating Thor at this. Now look, I would like to be wrong, and it would make a great underdog story for Hooper to come through and pull this out. Realistically, so Mitchell Hooper might be the most intelligent strongman competing today. His approach minimizes risk, maximizes points, wins him championships a lot. Clearly it works. 4 Arnold Strongman Classic wins in a row proves that. But it also raises an interesting question in the sport. Is the best competitor always the most exciting to watch? And since the Enhanced Games is really going to give us Mitchell Hooper versus Hafthor Bjornsson in head-to-head raw strength, we're going to see a competition where strategy doesn't matter. Only raw strength does. Anyway, if you liked the video, thank you for watching. Make sure to follow me and like this video. Also follow me on my other social medias, Instagram, TikTok. I'll see you later. Johnny Reps, signing out.